Arsenal are back to their very, very best. What a performance from Mesut Ozil, starting captain for the first time in his Arsenal career. A great cameo from Aubameyang, Lacazette looking absolutely dangerous, Torreira running things in the middle. Arsenal fans, are you back in a title race? 0203 606 0315. We want to hear from you now on FanPark Live.
Get all your football news as it breaks with Football Flash.
Let's roll.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. An absolutely scintillating performance from Arsenal Football Club tonight. I'm joined, of course, by Gooner himself, Chris Kane. What's going on, brother?
Not too bad.
Look, we want to speak to, we want to hear from Arsenal fans, Leicester fans if you want, and neutrals alike. Arsenal were absolutely brilliant tonight. They really, really were. I'll ask you this question.
I'm gonna sound like a hater today. I'm gonna sound like a hater today.
Do you feel like Arsenal are back to their very, very best, or is it still a long, long way to go?
It's a long way to go.
So no title challenge, top four challenge.
Top four challenge, yeah.
But you can't compete for a title yet.
Nope.
Not even with, I mean, that play tonight from Ozil especially.
But champions play like
phenomenal.
But champions play like that for, you know, 3/4 of the game. They play like that for 66 to 75 minutes on average. We play like that for 50 minutes tops, I would say, towards the end of the first half, and then obviously we turn it up, you know, in a major way in the second half. Again, like the way I rate Arsenal will always be by the standard I expect of champions, and the champions that have existed before us. Good champions that look like they will be ready to compete, not just in that one season, but also consistently. The way Chelsea once looked under Conte, unfortunately, obviously didn't go that way. But when they made those big strides in the league that season, Chelsea looked imperious.
Yep.
The way City looked last season, that's the standard I judge us by. I feel like, again, Arsenal picked up 3 points where they should be picking up 3 points. That doesn't mean that you take results for granted, but it means that, for me personally speaking, I feel like the results should be coming. My focus will always be on the results. On the performance, the actual performance, the way we executed. Even in the second half, we could have gone 2-1 down.
Yep, you could have done. And look, these things happen in games.
We could have had a penalty given against us.
Yep.
But
don't you think if you go through, look, sometimes you get games like City against Burnley where it's 5-0, it's a whitewash, they were brilliant. But if you really analyse games, as I know you do, there are always those moments. Many people on the weekend, take away from Arsenal for a minute, thought, oh, United were unlucky. When it was 1-1, David Luiz should have scored from a point-blank header, as an example. That changes the course of the game. There are always these moments where you think, oh, if this would have happened, if the penalty was given, if the header that hit the crossbar tonight was an inch or so lower, the game could have been different. I also think, like, my concern is a little bit with this Arsenal team for me now up against the lesser teams. You look not back to your very, very best, but you are getting there, and you're 9 games in with Emery. It's how you perform against the other top 6, because your record against the top 6 for about 10 years, top 4 it was, and now it's top 6, has been average at best. Yeah. But I think 9 games in to be 2 points off of the summit of the league with a new manager after the turmoil you went through last year, I just think it's phenomenal.
Well, do you know what? Like, a lot of Arsenal fans, they get at me because they feel like I'm being a bit too harsh in my criticism of them. Let's start with the positives. The positives are that in the last few years under Wenger, I think we're inconsistent against most Premier League sides. Like, we could go on a nice little run and then we'd lose points where we shouldn't be losing points. I think we got particularly bad last season. What it seems like to me is, even in periods against those, you know, weaker sides, where we look under pressure, we look like we can get back into the game like that. I think it was telling that we looked that way against Chelsea, where Chelsea went a goal up and we could have finished the first half 4-1 up. I think that's a positive to say that Arsenal always look in games that, you know, even against City, again, it was at home, but we looked like we was around there.
No, I agree. I agree.
I think that's one area. I think another area where I see this, you know, there's been some improvements, is the way we go forward in transition. I think we look much more deadly, a lot more ruthless in the counter attack. as you snap. No, I'm gonna have to go without this for a second. I think if, as you saw against Leicester, Ozil's first goal, that was a counter attack.
Yeah,
like we caught him on the break, and that was precision, that was technique, and that's not something. That's something that I think we've been doing in a few games, breaking really, really well down on the right hand side, finishing on the other end. Those are the positives, and obviously in terms of individual contributions, big improvement from Lacazette this season. I think Ozil is obviously getting back into it. I don't think Ozil and Ramsey can play together. Guendouzi's been a big improvement in terms of our centre midfield play. So there's been improvements, but I think regardless of all of that, we don't look assured enough through, like in every game that we played. The same way City look assured, the same way Liverpool have looked assured. As much criticism as you could say about Liverpool, about them going forward and not being the same side, going in the attack, Liverpool do not look like they ever lose in a game. Even when they went a goal down to Chelsea in the Premier League, they always look like they can get back into it. I could see on multiple times I could see games where Arsenal could have very easily lost, and I think that's the difference between what I feel like are title contenders, where even if they're not at their best, they never look like losing, and Arsenal, where it's it's quality.
Yeah, no, I get that. I understand that completely.
There's still a lot of questions, and I feel like it's still 3 teams clearly ahead of Arsenal at this moment in time.
Absolutely. We're doing it now, Javan.
Let me add this shit. I got really passionate.
Yeah, did we do that? Why are we doing it again? I'm confused. Sorry.
Oh no, not the opening. But I'm just saying, just because more people's tuned in now.
Okay, cool. So we want to hear from you Arsenal fans out there. Scintillating performance from you tonight. I think you're back in the top 4 race no matter what. I think Arsenal fans,
agreed.
You're playing the best football I have seen from you in over 10 years at the moment, and it is getting better and better and better. Think back 10 years. Honestly, right now the football is scintillating and there's positivity in the air. We want to hear from you on 0203 606 0315, and make sure you smash that like button.
I disagree. Maybe because I'm an Arsenal fan, I just see them more, but I think we played equally, if not better, football in 2007, 2008, which would have been 10 years. And 2010, 2011, I think we played just as. I think we played good football throughout that Premier League campaign. I'd also argue at the beginning of the 2016-2017 title, which is the one Chelsea won, when we had Sanchez playing up front, Ozil in behind, Iwobi on one side, Walker on one side. Maybe we didn't see that team for long enough, but that team was also playing some exceptional football.
You did, but I think the difference is now, all those things you say, the one thing I'm adding to the element is away from the performance, is there's a mentality shift. And I think that you guys are going to be stronger mentally. So the football's good.
I think that's a good point, to be fair.
Last year, 4 years, 5 years, you play like that for 30 minutes, you go 1-0 down against Leicester, that are a decent little outfit this year. The way you played against Everton a few weeks ago where they're all over you, I don't see that mental strength dragging you through. I can't remember when the last time you won 10. I don't remember the last time Arsenal won 10 competitive games on the bounce. Yeah. So I get, footballing-wise, there's been some great moments. Yeah. But with the football mentality and the trajectory that Arsenal are going, I think is really positive. Javerne, we ready with some calls? Let's get some calls on the air. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Phil.
Phil, how you doing, mate? Who do you support?
I'm good. I support Arsenal, of course, the Gunners. You don't know.
Yeah, good. What's on your mind? What do you want to say about tonight's performance?
What's on my mind? Yeah, I don't regularly watch football that much, but today I did, and I was definitely happy with what I watched. At first in the game, like Arsenal, we had like our flow. We was playing well. And then all of a sudden, Leicester, they just started applying pressure. And then, when they scored, I wasn't really surprised because I knew that with the pressure they were putting in, they were going to somehow come out with a result. You see what I'm saying? But after the second half, in fact, before the second half, when Ozil scored that goal, one thing I have to say, FIFA, they definitely need to increase Ozil's stats after that goal. Yeah? Because his speed, he's a fast player. I don't know why they brand him as a slow player. He's actually fast. He's fast with the ball. And you can tell that, it's very obvious by the way he scored that goal today. And, in the second half, we just played 2005 shower football. You know what I mean? We just took over and we just outplayed them. We got to also give a big shout out to Iwobi because to me, after Ozil, he was like, you know, the best player on the team. Like, he didn't waste any ball. Most balls he was passing out were, you know, chances. It's just that the other player must have missed it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Do me a favor. Can you do me a favor?
Shout out to most of the players.
What does shower football mean? Explain that to people that don't know.
Shower football to me is just smooth football. You know when you're in the shower, you're just feeling them sprinkles all over your skin. It's just smooth. Like, I'm talking about that flow, that fluent football.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm hearing a man in the shower, bro. This conversation left. I hear you though.
I get your point. Shower football. I never heard that expression before, mate. I really appreciate the call. Have a good evening.
All right, man.
Do you know what, man?
Take care.
Listen, man. I'm happy Arsenal fans are excited, but like, yo, chill.
No, I totally agree. Let's keep them
chill.
calls coming through. Javern, I want to hear
Arsenal
from some more of these
fans need to
gooners.
chill.
Are you title challengers? Didn't ask him. I should have asked him. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Bryn.
Bryn, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Are you an Arsenal fan?
Yeah.
Good. Tell us what's on your mind. How happy are you with that performance tonight?
Ecstatic. Tell you what, there's one difference between Wenger and Emery, and that is Emery's decisive decisions. 60th minute, you see, we didn't have the firepower up front. We were struggling, okay? We got that. They weren't lucky. We were building up to it, but the goal was coming. But Lacazette weren't cutting it. He weren't as good today. He's had better days. He was all right. He had a few chances he could have scored. But he made the decisive decision to bring Aubameyang on, and that changed the game.
His substitutions were positive. They were decisive.
Do you know what's interesting? Like,
brilliant.
A good friend of mine, I saw him say this on Twitter. He said he actually called the game exactly how it's going to go. He saw the starting lineup. He says, do you know what's going to be funny? We're going to play like shit for X amount of time. He's then going to put on the two players that should have started anyway. We're going to get back into the game, probably win it, and everyone's going to rave about the performance. And that's literally what's just happened. Because if you look at the starting lineup, Mkhitaryan shouldn't have started over Aubameyang. Xhaka shouldn't be starting over Guendouzi at home anyway. Against teams, if you're away or against physically imposing teams, I understand why you may start with Torreira and Xhaka. But really and truly, Guendouzi's played himself into the starting lineup. I understand the changes are good, but I'm not even going to rate him for the changes. It's good that he's been decisive to do them, but these are guys that should have been started from the get-go.
Yeah, I get that, but there's also the other element to it. Again, I think that the Arsenal starting lineup tonight with Xhaka and with Mkhitaryan should be good enough to beat Leicester. They were huffing and puffing, but then you have that quality to come off the bench. I mean, Aubameyang did brilliantly, but Aubameyang in the last 20, 30 minutes of a game against tired legs, he's hard to keep up with and manage at the best of times. But for him to come on then at that stage of the game, and rotation is very, very key for keeping your squad fresh for the season. So those things are going to happen. Let me ask you this question, Bryn. Let me ask you this question about Arsenal. Do you feel that if you keep improving at this rate this season, you could potentially challenge for this title?
I think that's a bit far this season. Challenge for the title. I think top four is a reality at the moment. But one thing I would like to pick up on is I think the slow starts can't carry on, okay? I think the slow starts, other teams will pick up on them. Crystal Palace, okay? Crystal Palace can look at that and go, slow start. We hit them hard the first 30, 40 minutes, get a few goals, we sit back, we hold on to the game, okay?
Agreed.
What are we going to do from then on? Okay, no matter how much pressure we put on, a team like Crystal Palace, they'll put 11 men behind the ball. We're stuck in a game, okay? The slow starts can't carry on, okay? Bellerin today, he got 2 assists, but I mean, the first half, he was atrocious, okay? That goal, he couldn't have marked any loose. He was so loose to the man, okay? Yeah, maybe Leno's positioning weren't great, but the marking was so loose, that can't keep happening, okay? That can't run.
Fair enough, mate. Listen, appreciate your call. Enjoy your evening.
You too, have a good evening.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. You've had it. Chris Kane's a gooner, doesn't think they're in the title race, nor does this guy. I'm actually putting out, I don't actually think you're going to be in the title race, but I want to know how our gassed Arsenal fans are feeling about this.
Like, do you know what? Arsenal fans right now are, listen, enjoy the wins, especially considering how bad we were last season, how bad we've been generally speaking, but like,
people are saying Chelsea are in the title race and you're level on points with them. And you're going to keep getting better. The interesting thing is you're going to keep getting better.
But even that's not... I predict we're going to get better, but I don't think it's going to be enough of a quick turnaround by the end of this season where we've gone from 1 minute we're barely making the top 6, which is literally how we started off this season. That's how people predicted our season would go, to now, in literally 9 months, we're title contenders. And even then, it's like, would that be more so to do with the lack of quality from the sides around us?
Maybe.
Or actually how good we've become.
Well, we spoke about Leicester. Leicester went from relegation dogfighters to champions within a season, so
really,
it's doable.
It's doable, but even then, even Leicester season, you need 3-4 teams, and that doesn't happen in this Premier League.
Interestingly, a point I want to make. I've been beating this drum now for about 2 years, being called crazy every time. Man United are not at the races to make it completely what I've said yet, but they are. Whether they stick with Jose or they go for another manager, I think they will catch up this year or next. But you look at the fact that the top 5 teams are separated by 2 points. I've been saying for a long time, I think you know my views. I think the Premier League is the best league in the world for many, many reasons. But you now have Man City, who many have said for the past 12 months or so have been one of the best teams in the world. Got what Liverpool have done. Chelsea are back up there now. Spurs have been consistent. Arsenal are getting back to their best. There is 2 points between the top 5 teams. And I've said to a lot of fans, and this is a mindset, and I've only said this because I think fans have got to get ready for this. You could win the league conceivably one year and finish 6th the next, 5th the next, but only finish 6th and be 5 or 6 points off winning the league still. And I think that we've got to get used to the fact that if there are going to continue to be 6 really good teams in the Premier League, and look, as inconsistent as Man United have been, they outperformed Chelsea the other day. They should have beaten Spurs. They're just not been at the races. They will become good. They will become good again. You've got 6 teams. No other top flight league in European football can boast that. I think it will hinder these teams in the Premier League, in the Champions League, because I think they're going to have to rest and rotate. They're not going to be able to rest and rotate as much as Real Madrid and Bayern Munich get to do in the major European competitions. But from a competitive nature, you're going to go into every season and think you could finish 6th but be 5 or 6 points off the top.
I mean,
it's going to become that close, I think.
That's possible. It kind of happened in 2014 with Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City. And Manchester United, actually. It was 4, right? Because it ended on the last day of the season. City won it, but there was only like 2.
Well, no, it happened in 2012.
That was Man City and Man United. But I'm talking in terms of 3 or 4 teams. That was the 2013-14 season.
Oh, no, 13-14, Man United with 6. But yeah, there was a season where it was close. Yeah, but I think that's going to stretch down to 5 or 6 teams at the minute.
Get these callers in. Get them all. I want the angry Arsenal fans that telling me I'm chatting shit. I want one man to come in. Hey, actually, let me put the call up right now. I will answer this.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello, dude. I've spoke to you before. My name is Gareth, mate, and I'm in a good mood. How you doing, boys?
How you doing, Gareth?
Good, mate. Good. Tell us why you're in a good mood. Explain what's so great about this Arsenal team at the moment.
Right. I'll tell you what it is. It's not that. Right, I'm going to agree with you, mate. I think that it's not. Look, we're not a winning team. We're not going to win the Premiership, right? Let's be realistic. But what I will say is, we're above Tottenham. That's all that matters right now.
Bro, but like Gareth,
you're bigger than that.
Gareth,
you're bigger than that.
No, I'm joking. Okay. Right, listen. At the end of the day, right?
Good. You're about to break my heart.
Right, Wenger went.
Yeah.
And everyone was a little bit worried about it with the manager. Which manager are we going to get in? And then when Unai Emery came in, people were worried about it. At the end of the day, lads, this is what I think. We have won 10 games in a row. So don't panic about a new manager. Normally, a new manager comes in and they struggle to get that balance of the team. Do you know what I mean?
They do, but do you know what I think was interesting with Arsenal is if Wenger would have ended in the way Fergie did, on top, team firing, playing well, it may have been a different situation. For an elite level team, Arsenal were in the pits. They were in the doldrums. They were finished. Now, I'm not talking... Obviously, some clubs have gone through relegations and administration, but they're smaller clubs.
Relatively speaking.
Absolutely. For a big club, Arsenal were down there. They burnt away. They were in the ashes. And it's easier to rise from that position sometimes. Although Emery is doing an absolutely brilliant job. So right now, when you look at it, do you think you're going to... Who are you going to finish above this season? Are you going to finish above Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool? Who?
Do you want my honest truth, mate? I actually think we're going to finish in 5th because I think it's like, Unai Emery coming in, new players. I was a little bit confused with the players today. Like who we started, Lichtsteiner. I was like, what? Like, where's Guendouzi? Guendouzi's been our best player this season, in my opinion. And they're not starting him enough. But obviously he's young. And they don't want to get him too injured. But yeah, I would like to think that we'll finish 4th, 5th, maybe. But I think we'll finish above Tottenham because they're dicks.
Yes,
I don't know, man. But I think you've got to take a realistic approach.
You do, and
like you do in life.
This is what I'm saying to a lot of people. It's really weird on the live chat. A lot of people saying I sound jealous of Arsenal. I think I've been really complimentary. But I think what's interesting is that you may finish 5th. But
you're a United fan, though, aren't you? Yeah.
I am. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think it's about being jealous, because look how many trophies you've won all through these years. It's like you can't be. I'm
not jealous of any football club in that respect, but I think I've been quite complimentary of Arsenal. My point to you is, though, you may finish 5th, as you pointed out, but I don't think you're going to finish 5th and be a million miles. I think you could finish 5th and be a point or two away from that top 4.
Yeah, it won't be.
And it's about relaxing. And this is the point I keep saying to Arsenal fans. You are going to improve this year, but maybe not quite enough to jump back in front of the teams that were already ahead of you. But people don't understand.
I call it softly, slowly catch your monkey.
Absolutely, mate. Listen, appreciate the call, brother. Thank you very, very much.
Let me put a quick shout out here. Shout out to all the Arsenal fans and tell me I'm chatting shit, but don't have the fucking balls to call in and actually prove me wrong. Because you know what's funny? The same guy that's been chatting shit, it seems like every caller.
So what are they saying?
Apparently, I'm deluded and I don't know what I'm talking about. And
why though? For what though?
I don't know. I mean, it's funny because like every caller that seems to call in about Arsenal seems to agree.
It's weird. I'm talking about whether you're in the title challenge because you're 2 points off the top. I want Arsenal fans to come on and be real. Most people are saying no top 4 race. I'm praising that you look the best in 10 years. You're getting called deluded for not saying you can't win the league this year. I'm getting called jealous for saying that you look the best you've looked in 10 years. There's
a lot of virgins
talking right now. But I also think it's people just they're trolling. That's what it is. But I
love it though, man.
So do I. It's all good. It's all gravy. Let's get some more calls.
I just actually want someone who genuinely believes I am wrong and is actually equipped to actually prove me wrong. Because I'd like to be wrong. As an Arsenal fan, I'd like to be proven to someone to say to me, we're actually going to win the league, and give me an actual solid argument. I'm waiting for it. Give me that argument.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live.
Please.
What's your name?
Caller. Wilson. And I'm an Arsenal supporter.
Yes,
Wilson. Good, Wilson. Can you win the league this year?
No, I mean, I don't think we'll win the league this year. I'm just thinking logically. I mean, anything can happen, but I don't think we'll win it. But, you know, I don't really mind if we don't finish in the top 4 or if we win the league. I'm kind of more on just progressing at a steady pace and not, you know, getting ahead of ourselves. And then when things go wrong, and then everyone, you know, I just want to steady this ship throughout
Wilson.
the season.
I just want you to know that you're appreciated.
You know, the teams at the bottom of the season, you know, losing 3-1 to Swansea last season, all that sort of stuff. I just don't want any of that to happen. You know,
I could not agree with you more. I'm asking people this question because what I'm looking for is whether Arsenal fans are overreacting. 10 wins on the bounce is brilliant. The progression is amazing. But it's this case of, I find football fans do this when their team goes on a good run. Football fans do this when a youngster bursts onto the scenes and looks brilliant early on. You saw it this year. We'll take it away from Arsenal. We saw it with Naby Keita at Liverpool. Started off like a steam train. He looked brilliant. He literally got people. There was a debate on a massive radio station where they were talking about the top 10 or top 5 midfielders, foreign midfielders in the Premier League. Liverpool fans were legitimately phoning up saying, "Why are you not including Naby Keita?" People overhyped too quickly.
But fair. Like, I don't even think with Naby Keita it's a case of overhyping because Luka Modric, recent World Player of the Year, was named the worst player in the Liga in his debut season for Real Madrid. So even with that, there's always like exceptions. My point is that I always use this example, and I don't see why people don't like clock it. Manchester United just this time last year were neck on neck, City. And you saw what happened. Equal amount of points, equal amount of goals, equal amount of like the goal difference. Everything was the same.
Everything was put. Yes, I remember.
But if you're watching Manchester United, you thought, nah, that team, they're not on that level, because you had to. You looked at all of the things in between the lines. And I'm just saying with Arsenal, like even if we played exactly the same way, because that's been my focus, the performance, right? Yeah. If you, Javan, please. But not whilst I'm speaking, please.
Come on, continue, Chris.
Even if with Arsenal played exactly the same way, right? But they had the same amount of like points or whatever after 20 games. then that's different. Because to carry over 10 games is one thing. To carry over 20 games, that's like, okay, do you know what? Okay, now you got something to think about.
I get
If
that.
Arsenal get to that point, I will be the first one
But
to
even
say,
even if you carry over 20 games, there's still an amount. Like, let's say we do win the next 10 games. Still, even if we win all of them, the performance still has to prove whether that's legit. Do you know what I mean? Because we can still get completely torn apart for the first half, get lucky, and then it brings on Aubameyang and Ramsey, and everything goes well at the end of the day after a couple of beautiful goals. So we still need to see performances that actually can back up the results. Because as far as I'm concerned, the 10 games that we've won, of course, they haven't been against the best opposition, and our performances haven't really suggested that an undefeated run of 10 games is as valid as it appears on paper. So I still want to see good performances, whether or not we win the games or not. I just want to see good performances consistently throughout the season.
There we go.
No dropping points. Even if we're playing the big teams and getting beaten and we're getting torn apart, I just want to see us recover well and steady the ship for a season or two before we start talking about.
God bless Wilson.
Mate, listen, mate, I agree with you completely. I wanted to ask a question because I wanted to see what kind of reactions I'd get, and it's great to see people be level-headed. It's great to see people. I think after all the mire that Arsenal fans went through, like their brains have settled down a bit, and there's this. No one's being overly critical of bad performances or bad decisions by the manager. Because remember, if Emery wins a league 5 years on the bounce, that's during those leagues and maybe the year after. Managers are always going to make bad decisions. They're always going to fall out with players. They're always going to get tactics wrong in certain games. And this notion again, like that, you've got to dominate games. Go back and watch City last year, record-breaking Premier League season. You could go back and watch 5 or 6 of their games where they shouldn't have even won the game. Crystal Palace is a standout example. They should have got beaten in that game. Go back to the game against Huddersfield early on in the campaign, Bournemouth away. All those games could have gone completely the other way. So you don't dominate every game. You have moments where you think, oh God, we got out of jail. I mean, Arsenal's invincible year. Jesus Christ. Go back and watch it again and be like unbiased, and you think you watch those games again,
There were so many comebacks.
and you literally will think, how the hell did we get through that season unbeaten? Because that's what happens. But look, appreciate the call, Wilson. Great level-headed news.
Wilson.
I want to say, Bernd Leno looks very mature. Every time he got the ball from when he got the ball to feet, I was always kind of worried because of what Czech did. So I'm glad that he's not as
ball, bro.
Of course he looks.
And his decision making is
good. But listen, of course he looks mature. He's in his mid-20s. He's not a kid. But listen, appreciate that.
I'm
call,
not
Wilson.
to you. I'm
Thank you very much.
feeling all the Arsenal fans backing me up right now and showing me love.
It's good. And
why is it only the Arsenal fans that actually on my side are actually calling? Like that must say something
the ones
about
that are trolling you. They don't actually believe what they're saying. They're trying to throw you off.
It's a bit mad. It's a bit
More
mad.
calls, please, Javern.
Y'all showing me love right now, B.
Address the super chat. I'm not even on UFF's channel, bruv. Mkhitaryan's fault. Goals are generally a Bellerin. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. If a left back is beating my right back, I'm thinking about where my right winger is. Percy speaking, but it depends on the nature of the goal. Like if Mkhitaryan was, a part of an attack and it just got countered really quickly, it's one thing. But if it isn't the case, then really and truly, why is your right back in a one-on-one situation with the other team's left back? You got to think about that because he should have a left winger to think about. You had Vardy that was dropping off to the left. Obviously, Maddison occupying the middle. I guess it's a bit difficult in that sense, but boy.
Yeah, listen, I think that Bellerin, he got skinned. But at the same, look, the goals, if you go back and you watch it, it's one of those things. It's a bit like when they had the debate over VAR, didn't they, a while ago? And it was like, you can look for an infringement in the build-up to a goal to disallow it. But the argument was always, how far back do you go? You could take a goal back and you could take it back to 5 minutes and go, oh my God, like, Ozil lost possession that led to the build-up. So there comes a point where people have got to put their hands up. Mkhitaryan's partly to blame, but for me, Bellerin defensively was in the wrong position. He got skinned, and Bellerin's fast. I know the guy had the run on him, but he got skinned alive. His tackle was weak. Bellerin has to take the L for that, but he made up for it anyway.
Enough talk about the title challenge. Can we talk about fucking Ozil and just
Ozil? Yes, we'll move the subject onto Ozil now. Absolutely. I want to hear from Gooners. I mean, that guy gets a lot of stick, and I give him stick in those big games when he goes missing. For those months of the season when he isn't performing, I always give him stick. But tonight, Ozil, one of the best performances I've seen from him as captain. And the creativity was there. The pass that set up the second goal was majestic. He's finished for the equaliser. I don't think, unless you play football, you cannot understand the difficulty, the timing, the precision.
Like,
we spoke to Rance,
and
we spoke to Rance earlier, didn't we? We spoke to Rance earlier about his goal.
Your foot,
yeah,
you just know.
No, it's going in, but also how he had to take all the power out of his foot. All that was about, he used his foot as a ricochet. Like in a game of pinball, he couldn't put any power on it. It was just let it hit the right part of my foot.
That's how you're supposed to strike a ball. Like if it comes with you at pace, you have to give it an element of control. So you
caress.
So there's more about technique.
That ball.
Similarly, if that ball came in slow, you have to put a bit of pace on that. To generate the power. Ozil's outrageous, man. When
he plays like he did tonight, he's absolutely phenomenal.
For me, I think today.
But do you want to see that more against top 6 sides? Do you want to see him do that against Spurs, City, Chelsea, United?
2 things. I think the first thing is that is further testament that Ozil and Ramsey can't play together unless one of them is playing way out of position. I don't think they've played anywhere near to their ability when they've both started. So I think that's something that Emery has to think about. I think the second thing, leading on to your question and trying to give a response to that, of course I would. But generally speaking, when Ozil doesn't play well, the rest of the team doesn't play well either. There have been games, I think the Chelsea game last season or the season before, where we didn't play him and we looked really good. Chelsea still ended up winning the game, I think. But we actually looked very, very good against Chelsea. In a game that everyone thought we were going to lose for sure. And, oh shit, my bad. Yeah, so there have been a couple of games. I think the City game a few seasons back when we won 2-0. We didn't play Ozil and everyone thought, oh, we don't need to start him. Our best team, regardless of who we play, has to have Ozil in it. What we have to do, though, is think about, okay, the way we play him against teams outside of the top 6 may have to be different to the way we play against teams within the top 6 because the demands are different. The tactical situation is different. They press more effectively or they build up the back more effectively. So we can't afford to play Ozil maybe in a number 10 position because he doesn't give us what we need in those situations.
Yeah, I get that.
He starts in every one of those games. Like if he's fit and if he's firing, he has to start. I just think that we have to be more intelligent in the way that we employ our players. And you know, with Wenger, more often than not, it's just like it doesn't matter who we play against. Ozil's going to play as a number 10, and we're not going to ask him to do anything different. So yeah, you know, Ozil was fantastic. I was glad he stepped up with the armband because I thought we looked very lethargic in the first half an hour. And if I'm being completely honest, I was looking at him and I was just like, I don't want my captain playing like that.
I get that. Is he a luxury player though? In terms of, I get your point that sometimes you said earlier he gets a bit isolated. Maybe people have got to get closer to him. Maybe changing Arsenal's style when they go up against the bigger teams. I suppose some people have the argument with Ozil that he doesn't ever grab the game by the scruff of the neck when there is the space, when not teams allow him to play, but he's not getting closed down. He performs against the lesser teams. He does it. I just want to ask Arsenal fans to phone up and speak about him. I would want to see, as an Arsenal fan, what I saw from him tonight. I would demand and expect of him. £350,000 a week contract. He's your talisman. He's your best player, in my opinion. He's your best player. He's paid the most. He's been there a long time. I want to see that against the top 6 teams, and he's accountable for his performance.
Yes, I think. I'm very, very careful with the term luxury player because. Do you want to get the calls in?
We'll get the calls in. Yeah, we'll jump onto that.
Yeah, I'm very, very careful with the luxury player thing because I think that gets thrown around a lot. I think some players look a certain way in a certain kind of side because he was never called a luxury player at Real Madrid. That's not to say that every Real Madrid fan liked him when he was over there, but he was an important part of the team. No one would say we don't want.
They don't, but what they used to say about him, and I remember listening to many talk shows where Real Madrid fans were calling up, and I remember the same criticisms, and it's why I always referred to him as a 2/3 player. And they said it then. 2/3 of the season at Real Madrid, he was sensational, but there was a 2-3 month period where he would just go off the boil. And I suppose that's my issue with him as a player. But maybe that's just him. Maybe that's just how he is. There's going to be a 2 or 3 month period where he's good. But he's not at the same level.
But I think my point is that a player shouldn't have that much influence. Unless you're Messi or Ronaldo, you shouldn't have that much influence on the quality of your side. I say that to say that if Wenger or Emery, any Arsenal manager, looked at Ozil and was unhappy with him for that third of the season, I'd make sure that my team doesn't rely on him. Now, whether that be from a tactical perspective, whether it be from just sheer quality, I would make sure that my team functions regardless of whether.
You mentioned Messi and Ronaldo there. Just look at Real Madrid without the fact that for 10 years that they built their system to rely upon the scoring ability of Ronaldo. Suddenly, that they need to again they're punishing the manager, but actually they need to rebuild their structure because and I think you might see the same with another Spanish team when a certain other genius retires.
What I will say about Barcelona, they have more pieces that will kind of can have them still be somewhat successful. I think Dembele, they've got a future world class player there. Continues a top class player. Suarez, even though he's on the decline, is still a top striker. You still got top players in and around that side. But yeah, like they won't be the force that we know Barcelona
but
were.
When I play against Arsenal, have gone out and recruited Lacazette and Aubameyang. But example being, up until recently, I always felt as a Man United fan, if we could keep Ozil quiet, the rest of your team didn't scare me. And I think maybe you're seeing that around with it. Suddenly Ronaldo's not there, or Ozil don't turn up, and teams think got more of a chance now because man ain't performing.
Yeah.
But look, we've got some calls to jump into. Put them through, Javern. Let's see what they've got to say about. We're only going to talk about Ozil. If you're not talking about Ozil, you're getting locked off the air, bruv. Or ladies. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. That call didn't come through, Javern. Let's do it again.
Do that shit again.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hi there, mate. It's I'm an Arsenal fan. It's Mohammed calling.
Hello, mate. What do you want to say about Ozil?
Who's this calling?
Mohammed.
Ozil played really good today, but Ramsey, they should have brought him on earlier because Ramsey's obviously his contract is expiring.
Yep.
But obviously they should start him earlier. But why don't I don't get his Unai Emery? He's such a good manager. We played 10 games, we won 10 out of 10, and you should play Lacazette and Aubameyang together up front. You can't be playing Aubameyang on the left wing and Lacazette up front. Do you understand?
Yeah, like I agree. I think in an ideal world,
you know what I mean. They should give two strikers a chance. To say, for example, Leo Messi and Suarez, they're two up front. That's like Aubameyang and Lacazette. And if these two start at the front, that combination is going to be wicked. Do you understand? And the other thing is that even like in second half, they got Welbeck to come on. They got Iwobi, Mkhitaryan. They got all sorts of players, pacey players that can come on and play the attack. Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much. Javern, keep these calls rolling through for us. We want to try some Spitfires. Give you a minute or two to say your piece.
Prove me wrong.
No one's going to try and prove you wrong. No, I don't think anyone's got the balls to come on and say they can win the league, even if they believe it. That didn't come through, Javern.
I'm allowed to, man.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live.
Heavily disappointed in some Arsenal fans right now. I'm heavily disappointed in Arsenal fans right now. Talking bare crud. Talking crud. Come on, bruv.
Nothing's working. The phone lines has gone funny.
Oh, we got hacked. Did you get hacked?
Javern's just hitting wrong buttons here. He's struggling. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello, you all right, mate? It's Brandon. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Hello, Brandon. Talk to us about Ozil. How good was he tonight, and is he real captain material for your club?
He was brilliant tonight. There's no question about that. However, the problem that we have, or most Arsenal fans have, is we want to see that on a consistent basis. And we don't get to see it enough. Not just, I heard what you were saying about against the top six sides, but I don't think it's just against the top six sides. I think it's against all sides. We don't see that Ozil enough.
Okay, and what is that?
Captain material, possibly. Maybe that's what give him the lift to a certain degree, to sort of say, well, I've got to perform here because I'm captain in the team. I've got to show and set a good example. But I don't know. I'm not too sure yet. Okay,
and in terms of other aspects of tonight, 10 wins on the bounce. Another solid performance over the course of the game. How good is this Arsenal team, and how far do you think you'll go this season?
Again, that's another thing that I wouldn't like to comment on just yet, because we've got tougher tests coming up. We've played Chelsea, we've played Man City at the beginning of the season when the players were just adjusting to Emery and his style of play. And I think when it comes to, I think we've got Liverpool in 2 games' time. I think that'll be when we'll really see whether Arsenal any sort of challenge for a title or even top 4 is possible when we play Liverpool, because by then Emery will have had time with the team. They'll be more adaptive to his style. We might see a better performance. Who knows? We don't know just yet. But my worrying thing for me is, although it's 10 games won on the bounce, I still think we're a bit shaky in defence, and we start slow in the first half. And against a team like Liverpool, for example, who start fast, I think we'd come up with 1 or 2 problems.
Do you know what?
Fair enough, though. Great point, mate. Thank you very much for your call.
Just a quick point. Something to be said about Liverpool. They're going to be a threat, especially in the counter. But considering that they've tried to be a bit more reserved this season, considering they've also shown that they're willing to go into bigger games and hold off a little bit, you know, I think also we are, to be fair, we are at Anfield, so I would go into that game thinking.
When is this game?
Soon.
Yeah, look, it's going to be it's another acid test for the team. But I think that, you know, with the way things are going at the moment, I think Arsenal go into that game with a bit more confidence and belief than Liverpool do. Yes, Liverpool, they're joint top of the league, and that looks amazing. But you were sitting here with me 2 days ago. Their fans are concerned about the performance levels, and there's no doubt about it. Klopp has confirmed what you said, that they're doing it on purpose. So it isn't about the players being out of form and it clicking into gear. So what we've been saying for weeks, it's going to come good again, and we're going to see that fast-paced, attacking, beautiful football. Not right now, we're not. Jurgen Klopp is instructing his team to... There's no high press, so the attacking men are not pressing as much. It's more about, he said today, it's a midfield press that they're doing. They're protecting their back 4 more. So it's not to say that the defensive players aren't as good as they're making themselves out to be. But Klopp's now doing, and I hate to say this, Liverpool fans and Arsenal fans, it's to benefit, what I was screaming at him to do a year ago. He is setting up a system that is defensively sound. And I read, go and read the transcript from his press conference today. It's what he said. He goes, you know, we've got to protect, we're not going so gun-ho, we're not attacking so much. And he's alluded to the fact that you have to do that to win titles, as opposed to just winning individual games.
Striking a balance.
And it is. And it's that word the whole way along. This nonsense for me, and again, I'm glad that Klopp's doing this, because I think that football fans got lost in the mire last year, that football is just about all-out attack.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. Literally, like, even when you watch City, and be honest, often they've got the ball and they're probing to score, but it's this side-to-side, keep possession, don't let the other team have it. Their way of defending is by not letting the other team have the ball. That's Pep Guardiola style. But it isn't gun-ho, crazy, 6-7 men attacking. It's not like that. They rip you apart because the ballers that they've got. This notion that you just go out swinging, like a windmill, you just go out crazy.
And that's
You're never going to win league titles playing like that.
To bring it back to Arsenal, like, that's one of my issues so far. Not like a massive issue, but one of those issues is like we look at our best when we're in that mode.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. For us, it's just like when we're bombing loads of players forward, where we're obviously trying to get a goal back. That's when we look fantastic going forward. But it's still the fact that we're conceding a lot of chances. If you look at the whole that's called expected goals, the XGA rating, like it doesn't make sense for the amount of goals that we concede and the chances that we concede. And the fact that we're winning these games, it literally doesn't make sense. And I think the reason why you hold reservations is because you think to yourself, how sustainable is that for an actual title challenge? You could get away with that to get to the top 4. You can probably get away with it as a title challenge, though. It's just like,
you know, we spoke about earlier this season where I think United and City goal difference. That was the year that City beat United 6-1 at Old Trafford. And I remember leading up to that game, United had beaten Arsenal 8-2 that season. And I remember a younger man, you're talking a lot younger, more naive, more tribalistic about my football at the time. And I remember listening to pundits talking about the fact that they weren't, even though United, I think they beat Arsenal 8-2. I think Rooney scored a hat-trick 2 games running, nearly got a hat-trick 3rd game running. They beat Chelsea quite comfortably. But the pundits were talking about, well, they're still conceding 2 or 3 goals in all those games. They're still conceding all these chances in those games. At some point, that's going to cost them.
I remember the Everton game.
Yeah. And then that was later on in the year as well. And then it came up against City, and it was like we got battered. And we finished in the top 4 because we had the good enough players for it. And we actually only lost out on the league by goal difference. Yeah. But
think to yourself.
But you think it was all those goals we were conceding. And interestingly, Fergie fixed it because he said we didn't score enough goals. But you could look at it the other way. If we hadn't conceded 2 against an average Arsenal team,
even just the Everton game alone, because that's closer. That's actually closer to the end of the season, and essentially, and I think that essentially changed the landscape of how that season was going to finish for United, because you approached the City derby
differently.
Very differently.
We win the league if we don't throw that lead away, as an example. So, you get that aspect of how many chances are you conceding. Yes, Man United, as well as we've had some good moments in the last 5 years, but without David De Gea making the saves he's done, I don't think we'd have made top 4 once. We certainly wouldn't have won any trophies. Yeah. And look, of course, the goalie's doing his job, but equally,
he's doing it at an outstanding level.
He's the player at my football club I feel most sorry for, because if he'd had defenders in front of him like we had in the late 2000s or in the 90s, that man would have like serious records in the Premier League. But end of the day, I think Arsenal, there's still areas. That's why I was asking the question today, because there's still areas for Arsenal to improve. But what I've loved hearing from Gunners tonight is the fact they realise that. They understand that. They're not getting carried away with themselves.
Thank you. And that's you can be positive, but also be critical. Like, it isn't one or the other. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so, still no one. Still no one.
Yeah, no one's gonna contact.
Show me levels. Call and show me levels, please.
I'm just trying to sort my phone out here because we obviously our title sponsors tonight, Football Flash. I'm just gonna get their app up and connect my phone to our system so I can put it up on the screen for you, just to tell you a little bit about them. Is that connected, Javon? Terry is one salty United fan. Again, cool. Think that. I'm not. Yeah. Is that up on the screen yet, bruv? It is now up on the screen. So listen, this is Football Flash, title sponsors of FanPark Live. The information is in the description below. Go and check it out. For me, it is the very best place, the best app if you want to source football news about your club. You can see here on my menu, I've got Liverpool, Arsenal, United, Dortmund. I just stuck teams in there. Let's click on Arsenal because that's the main subject of tonight's game. And it literally drags stories, as you can see, from The Guardian, Daily Mirror, the Leicester Mercury, that's clearly a local Leicester paper, Arsenal's actual website, many publications. And you can click on this. Let's just check. Let's pick on a recent story. It shows how quickly it updates. This is actually from the Leicester Mercury. It's the most recent story that's been published. It's just obviously an overview of the game today. So rather than having to sort of trape through Google or other search engines are available, you can get all your Arsenal news via this app. It's free to have. The information is in the descriptions below, so go and check that out. Listen, Chris, quality as ever, mate, having you on. Man. Everybody else out there, we're back again tomorrow night for Man United Juve. Back on Wednesday night. I don't even know what game we're covering Wednesday, but we're covering the Champions League. Arsenal again on Thursday in the Europa League. And, of course, the weekend there's many games. So FanPark Live is the place to be. Make sure you're checking in. Smash that like button for us as always. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.
We are back! Do you want the best? Get all your football news as it breaks with Football Flash.